Well, it's Thursday. It's time for Thursday Papers with Mike and Greg.
Read all about it.
Oh, fuck.
They're here. The Thursday papers are here. Get one now. You might have read Wednesday, Slow News Day. Today, a lot. You got Mike Gibbons and Greg Fitzsimmons delivering it to your door. Welcome, Mike.
A little more energy than on Catalina, I can tell you that. By the way, my volume seemed very low. And then technically the volume seemed pretty low on me on Catalina, I have to say.
What, did you listen to it?
Yeah, I went, didn't we? We wanted to get a clip to promote, so I wound up watching a little of it.
Well,
By the way, it's fascinating. It's a great podcast. Have you ever listened to it?
The Catalina Sunday Papers? Or
No,
just the
this
Sunday
is
Papers?
Sunday Papers. Those guys, there's a chemistry.
Yeah.
They don't talk over each other. What?
It seems like they've been friends for a long time.
They know they're a little too comfortable.
Yeah, people. I like that people have crushes on us. It's not something I might want my wife to know because she feels that at 54 I'm not attractive to anybody any longer, and I think there's a certain peace of mind with that.
And a certain truth to it, I think.
Not according to Joanne.
There are so many Joannes out there. I don't know. Yeah, there's something about it.
Hey, so
that
Catalina
should be the
Island
new
was a
nickname,
blast.
like Karen's. Oh, you're such a Joanne. What do you mean by that? I mean, you have a crush on Greg and Mike.
That's going to be, you know how like the Lady Gaga has, what are her fans called? Little somethings?
Monsters?
Little monsters. Our female fans will be called Joannes. And our
I
male
like that.
fans,
I can't wait to call the dudes Joannes.
And we got to come up with a name for our male fans.
You asked me before the podcast, you asked me if I'd seen anything. Hold on, I'm just going to play with this mic for about 45 minutes. But I did see the VMAs last night. Did you see those? I know we're not in that section yet.
No.
But I'll forget.
Fucking thing. What are you talking about? That's a perfectly good mic stand.
Mic technique. There it is. Yeah. The VMAs were a shit show. It was like watching a bad cruise entertainment. It wasn't even lip syncing. It was go out there with a mic and first of all, they had masks on. Go put a mic in front of your face and then move. That's all you have to do. There's no band. It's not even karaoke because we're not going to hear your voice. I think Gaga might have. I kind of do like Lady Gaga. I think she legitimately sang one or two songs.
Yeah. And, yeah, I mean, they're always lame. The only thing that you watch when you're watching those award shows is something like Kanye taking the trophy away from Taylor Swift. You're looking for interaction. You're looking for crowd shots. You're looking for the person that's dissing somebody. You want a moment of tears. Nobody gives a fuck about the stale, flat performances.
No, it's terrible. And the awards are like made up. And also the girls were like, because meanwhile, I'm like, who's that? Who's that? I can't keep all these young female singers straight. And also a lot of the Latin bands that were on literally singing in Spanish. So I was like, I seemed like the old man, yet I was calling everybody who won. They're like, how are you doing that? I'm like, because they showed up. This is like bad award show 101.
Yeah.
You don't think The Weeknd's going to get an award when he opened the show?
Right. All right, listen, let's get into it. Corrections. We always start with corrections because we feel like we want to be like the New York Times. It's all, we will do letters to the editor if we're wrong. Greg, you've been married for 21 years, not 31 years, as stated on last week's podcast. Not sure what's worse, you being off by a decade or that I actually knew this.
That's perfect.
Mike Benson.
Well,
it is funny. I do check when it is my anniversary. I look inside my ring, and there is, I don't know if you can see it. You can see the date.
We can't see it, so it's okay.
It's been. Well, it was 99, so I know that it's 1 year more than whatever the last digit is.
My my first 2 wedding bands had the date inside it. Keep in mind, I've been married once. And the second time I lost my wedding band, didn't bother putting the date on the inside again. Maybe that was telling. And one time, the first time I lost
Now,
it.
what would have been funny is if you put the date inside, but it had like a hyphen and then another date after it. Like it had an expiration date.
Right. Oh, that is funny. The first time I lost it, not a good story. I took it off to get a massage.
Oh, boy.
In Minnesota.
Yeah.
With Kilborn. Kilborn brought me up there to Timberwolves training camp. And anyway, that. And then the second one was surfing. It was really cold water. And while paddling, it just slipped off. I felt like I was dead in The Sixth Sense. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, it sounds like that thing was fleeing you as the marriage was.
Yeah. Ironically, I still have my third one.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you do with a wedding ring when you're divorced?
Well, I kind of learned...
Is it like afterbirth? Is it really something you hold on to? Is it like the tip of your penis after a bris?
Those could all work, I guess. No, my parents got divorced when I was like 4 or whatever. And then when I was in my 40s, I think it's when my dad left his job. He had some valuables in his office, like in some locked drawer or whatever. And he gave me his wedding band from when he was married.
So you used that as yours for the first wedding, for the first one?
No, I didn't view it as a good luck symbol.
Yeah, right.
But it did feel a little special though. Like it did feel that was kind of cool. I mean, I guess it's the closest guys will get to heirloom jewelry. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
What about your dad's wedding band?
I don't know. I should have grabbed it off his finger before we buried him. That would have been a nice thing to have.
So he's buried with it.
Yeah, I guess so. He also got buried with his driver because he was a big golfer. And I remember thinking like, sweet idea, but I fucking love that driver. I would have loved to get it because I got the rest of his clubs. It's the only thing I got when he died. I inherited his golf clubs. And they are, right now, they're about 35 years old. And I play a lot of golf, but I still play with these antiquated fucking, they're like battle axes. That's so
what you
heavy.
Play with?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of sentimental value. They're Ping Eye 2s.
I imagine. Do you ever go to the cemetery just to sort of think and contemplate about the driver that's buried there?
Yeah, and somebody's going to dig up his body and they're going to find a shovel instead of the driver in the casket next to him.
Regarding the wedding band, though, you do have a lot of marks where it smashed you in the head, don't you? So you'll always have those. Those are forever, inside and outside.
Yeah. All right, let's do some letters. We had a follow-up. We had a crossword puzzle last week where we had Christy McAuliffe jokes, and this one comes from Cebrios, who says, "What does NASA stand for? Need another 7 astronauts." Also a letter from Josh Whited, who said, "I heard Mike mention Next Door on the latest show. Just wanted to mention that if you were not aware that there is a best of Best Door Twitter handle." Yep. They capture funny content nationwide from the Nextdoor website. If you don't know, it's Nextdoor is like a combination of Facebook, Craigslist, and like a neighborhood watch group. And it's like a lot of Karens. There's a lot of Karens, and they're a little racist.
They're a lot racist, yeah.
So I went to the site on Twitter, and here's a couple funny ones. Somebody wrote, "Stop locking your cars after 8 p.m. Some of us have small children and would appreciate it if you'd lock your car with the beep beep noise before 8 p.m. If it's not an option, then at least disarm the beep beep noise from under your hood." Right.
How on edge are these kids in the house trying to fall asleep? What? Honestly.
Yeah, right.
What is that?
Is this going to, I mean, that's got to be from San Francisco where the kids are so precious. They don't want any trauma, including a beep beep.
Beep beep is like one of the only sounds a goddamn infant hears. They're like beep beep, boop boop. All their toys are beep beep. Who cares?
And it means you're safe, honey. That means we're going to keep all the bad people away.
Is this a homeless woman who's sleeping with her baby in the person's car that's getting locked?
This one is says, "Hi, neighbors. I'm Michael. Stay out of my internet. I will prosecute and have SPD and FBI reports made."
Okay.
So this is like the homeless guy that you see in Starbucks using the Wi-Fi, and you're wondering where he got the computer.
Right. I think there's a lot of people complaining about 5G. It'll have all your conspiracy theorists on there also.
Oh yeah. And you wonder if for his next door, does the neighborhood he's writing about change every few days? And
Right.
finally, this is one that's just straight up funny because it's a double entendre. Somebody wrote, "We just had a rude awakening." Oh, nighttime backdoor pounding.
Sounds sexy.
Yep. And
That's
you
all
don't
it
want
says?
to do a daytime backdoor pounding because then it's bright and you can actually see the person's asshole. That happens at night where you're just feeling your way around. It could have been an accident. I wasn't trying to do that. It was an accident. It's dark.
Can I go on next door and complain about the people I live with? Does that also work?
No, that's
So-
behind the door. That's a different site.
So I'm a little tired today. Last night, middle of the night, turned out to be like, actually, it was much earlier than I thought. It was about 2 a.m. My daughter wakes me up. She's like, "Dad," she's like, "I'm freaked out." She's like, "A spider crawled in my mouth while I was sleeping, and I didn't know what it was, and I crunched it with my teeth and tongue, and when I spit it out, I saw the dead spider."
No shit. Oh my God.
And all true. And she's like, I'm freaked. Can I sleep in your bed? I'm like, that's the fucking grossest thing I've ever heard. Absolutely not. Get the far away from me. No. So I let her sleep in my bed. Cut to 45 minutes later. Dad. I'm like, holy shit. Don't tell me there are spiders in this bed. She's like, "You're snoring." I'm like, "Oh, yes. That's because I was asleep." Happened another time at like 4:45 all of a sudden. Dad, you're snoring. I'm like, holy fucking shit, this is over, please.
Yeah. Nothing cute about that.
No.
Well, now she can see what, she can see what marriage is. Marriage is putting up with a lot of shit
Your
that goes
dad
on
in the
behind
bed?
closed doors. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got an ad this week, and here's kind of a special treat. This ad is a gift to a good friend of ours.
And
And
they
we're
don't even know about it.
He doesn't know about it, and we're surprising him, and we want you guys to support us in this surprise. We are doing a guerrilla-style ad that he doesn't know we're doing. Seaview Lobster Company. If you guys like lobster,
I've got the hat. It's
yeah,
here
put
in
the hat
closet.
on. I got the sweatshirt. You've seen me wear the green sweatshirt before.
I had it on Catalina.
Kevin
Here's the hat.
Flanagan. Oh yeah, there you go. Nice. If you're not watching this on YouTube, you're crazy, by the way. You're missing so much visual stuff.
It's a hat with a lobster on it, guys, and it says Seaview. I don't know how more descriptive I can get than that.
So Kevin Flanagan, it's a family business, started with him and his father and his brother. And for 30 years, these fucking lunatics get on boats, where they did for years. They got on the lobster boat when it was dark out in Maine in January and February all year, and they hauled in traps. And now they know all the local lobster boats, and they got a little smarter. And what they do is they grab the freshest lobsters right off the ship, and they immediately ship them out. They've sent them to me, fresh, big, great Maine lobster. So
I never got one. I did, but it's on a hat.
oh,
That's the only lobster I've gotten. But still, solid dude. And yeah, we love their family and help them out. And
Yeah, so-
you'll feel special. You haven't eaten out in a restaurant in how long? So you've saved all that money. And how special would it be to have lobster at home?
yeah, it's a really fun night, and the kids will love it. And it comes with other stuff. It comes with I forget. It comes with, you can get chowder. They send chowder also. So anyway, surprise Kevin and call up, and they're a little bit Maine. You can't buy it online. You have to call them or email them. Yeah, there's no order online.
I'd call just to hear the Maine accent.
You'll love the Maine accent. It's 1-800-245-4997. Or you can go to orders@seaviewlobster.com. Tell him, mention the Sunday papers. He's going to wonder why they're suddenly getting people from Sunday papers ordering lobsters. But let's blow it up. 800.
Maybe mention. I doubt he knows what the Sunday papers are. Maybe mention our names. See if he can. See if he can give you a little
he's
discount.
a huge fan. I bet you. He listens to every Fitzdog radio. I bet he listens to Sunday papers.
Huh.
800-245-4997. Get yourself some lobsters. Mike, it's time for our movie reviews, which actually always turn out to be TV reviews. You want to start?
Well, I talked about the VMAs. Oh, well, Hoops. I want to follow up. We talked about Hoops on the Sunday podcast.
Hoops is a TV show that Mike was a producer on, Ben Hoffman's show. It's on Netflix. It's a debaucherous, politically incorrect, edgy show about a basketball coach. Animated.
Yeah, Ben Hoffman, I gave his first sort of mainstream writing. He's an amazing writer, writing gig too. This is before he created Wheeler Walker Jr. It was on the Norm Macdonald Sports Show on Comedy Central. And he's amazing talent. So he created this show, Hoops. It's animated. Jake Johnson from New Girl is on it. Anyway, it is an intentionally juvenile and, oh shit, man, where'd it go? Here it is, intentionally juvenile and profane show. And the reviews are all over the place. So this, I just Googled Hoops Netflix, and you can't read that. I'm just going to read in order what people say. So maybe I'll do 10 reviews. This is in order. Hoops on Netflix is solid trash. Seriously, how funny is Hoops on Netflix? The new show Hoops on Netflix stinks. You gotta watch the first 10 minutes of Hoops on Netflix. Y'all watched Hoops on Netflix? Best dirty humor ever. Hoops on Netflix is so bad, I can't stop watching. I want to be a new character on Netflix. Hoops Netflix. Hoops on Netflix is actually pretty decent. Hoops on Netflix is not good. None of these are answers or responses. These are individual reviews.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, watch it, people, and then email us your review, and we'll read it during this section next week. I'm going to talk a little bit about Alone, Season 1. I watched Season 6 because that's the one that's out on Netflix, and it's fucking amazing.
All right, so where are you watching it? Sorry?
Well, now we're watching it on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
Which is great, except I pay money for Amazon Prime, and now all the other Alone seasons, you have to watch commercials. A lot of fucking commercials. It's almost a deal breaker. I'm hanging in because the season's so good, but I can't handle it.
Someone told me that their kid who's in their 20s or whatever pointed out to them when they were about to get rid of cable. The kid was like, so you paid, because they were complaining how expensive cable was. And the kid was like, so you paid all those years to watch ads?
Right.
It's a really interesting perspective. I never stepped that far back to look at it that way.
No, they were triple dipping because they would not only charge you for cable, then they would put in commercials, and then they would do product placement inside of the shows.
Yeah.
But anyway, Alone Season 1 is great. It's really intense because it's set in Vancouver Island, which is it rains more there than I think anywhere in the country. And it's 25 degrees out. And there's panthers, and there are bear, and there are wolves. Wow. And so in the first 3 days, they lose 3 people who it's just boop, 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 boop. get me the fuck out of here! Like petrified, like waiting on the beach for the boat to come.
By the way, your beep boop boop just woke up 4 babies in Venice.
One guy wouldn't even wait for the morning, so they had to drive into this fucking deep forest and hike. They had like his GPS, and these guys had to save him. It took him 3 hours to get to him, to get him out of there, because like there were wolves fighting outside of his tent. The guy was a pussy.
Dude, we're almost at the 20-minute mark.
I know, that's what I'm
here?
saying. We're going to skip the tripping story today. We'll do it next week and get straight to the crossword puzzle.
Ooh, I didn't prepare one, so this will be short. I have a Dear Abby, though.
All right. Well, last week, as you know, we did the Christy McAuliffe crossword puzzle. It was a big hit. So we thought this week we would do a Leon Klinghoffer edition. He was a guy who was shot, killed, and thrown overboard by the PLO on a ship in 1985. Nine down.
Sure.
9 down. New drink called a Klinghoffer. It's 2 shots and a 6 letters starting with S.
Well, this is similar, unless you've changed it. This is similar to my astronauts joke. I imagine it's a splash.
That's correct.
All right.
24 across. Why didn't Leon Klinghoffer take a shower the night before the hijacking? He figured he'd wash up 2 words. Blank, blank.
I'm going to go onshore.
That's correct. You're nailing this.
I'm great at crosswords, it turns out.
68 down. What do the initials PLO stand for? 3 words starting with a P. Middle word is an L. Third word starts with an O.
I guessed that those are the 3 letters. What was Klinghoffer's first name?
Leon.
Push Leon overboard?
That's right. Mike Gibbons gets 100% on this week's crossword puzzle. Congratulations.
That was my only guess. If you had said his name was like Arnold, I'd be like, huh. I don't know.
Our apologies to the Klinghoffer family, but comedy's comedy, folks. All right, let's close it out with a Dear Abby.
Dear Abby, my daughter and son-in-law's dog Zeke is a poor house guest. We have kept him several times while they were vacationing. Zeke is a hound dog, 58 pounds, and stubborn. He jumps on furniture, jumps up to the kitchen counter and dining table trying to steal food, urinates in the house, doesn't want to stay outside in the backyard unless someone is out there with him, and when he is outside alone, he constantly howls. He chases our cats, and if he catches... And if he catches a scent, he runs off. He also fights with our dog. Our daughter's trip is for 12 days. We said we didn't want to keep him for that long, but we would continue to keep him for short stays. This has been a sore spot with her ever since. She feels Zeke is our grand dog, and we should keep him anyway. I do not know how to handle this without causing any more bad feelings. Please advise Above and Beyond in Texas. What do you think, Greg?
Well, I mean, with any unwanted house guest, you have to leave hints. And I think the hint with, what's the dog's name? Zeke?
Zeke.
I think the hint with Zeke is you take treats and you lead them into the woods, and then you lock all the doors.
It's already built in. This is what I think they did. They wrote to Dear Abby just to create an alibi of the thing catches a scent and just bolts.
Right.
And I think that's what they go with. Like, Zeke's gone.
Yeah, it's like Pulp Fiction. Zed's dead, baby. Zeke's gone.
So wait, I told you about when I lived in Laurel Canyon, we had this neighbor who was this old woman who was the mom of the next house over, the third house. And he was kind of like a well-known architect in Los Angeles. Well, the funny thing was everyone came up to our house and was like, hey, does the architect live there? I'm like, I go, does an architect live there? I'm like, how did you know? And like, oh no, he's famous. He built this like Kentucky Fried Chicken on like Highland or La Brea or whatever. Had this really cool design that was pretty famous in a lot of books. And I'm like, wow, you can really tell that? So I went and checked out the Kentucky Fried Chicken. It looks exactly like his house. It was basically his house with a KFC logo on it. So anyway, he took a vacation And the mom always wanted to get him married. He's single. I don't know if he was gay. He sounds like it now that I talk about it, but he had a beloved cat. And so he never would take vacations. He would tell his mom, like, I got my work and I got the cat. Finally, he takes one and he's out on a boat and I think he was sailing to Hawaii or something. So she's watching it. So we invite her over for dinner because she's alone. And she comes over and we're like, hey, how's everything going? And she's like, well,
there's got to be a shorter version of this story.
Oh, here it is. No, it's kind of funny, though. She's like, he's out of touch because he's at sea, but he pulls into port tomorrow. And, I have to tell him about his cat. And we're like, oh, what? She's like, well, it was acting really weird. It's sick. I think it's sick. And it was under the bed and it wouldn't come out and it just won't come out. And we're like, oh yeah. It's like, I put food and it's just really tired. And then we're like, oh my God. So what'd you do? So, so I took it to the vet and we're like, oh no, it's going to be bad news. And we're like, well, what was wrong with it? It's like, yeah, they agreed it was sick. They agree it's sick. It's like, so what did you do? It's like, well, I put it down.
Without call? Oh, you couldn't call.
Couldn't call.
Oh, wow. That's a tough call.
We're at dinner like, what? It wasn't a tough call for her. Didn't get a second opinion. Nothing. It reminds me, that joke, which is much shorter than that story, but the joke about the guy, he goes away, similar situation, but his brother, right? And he goes, his brother's watching his house and first time he calls back, he's like, how are things going? He's like, your cat died. And he's like, what? And he's like, yeah, sorry, your cat died. He's like, Jesus Christ. He's like, you could have broken it to me more gently. He's like, well, how could I have done that? It died. He's like, I don't know. Maybe just dress it up a little, make up a story. Like the cat's on the roof and then it jumped to a tree and it fell. And then, something, just don't blurt it out. He's like, I'm sorry. You're right. He's like, all right. So anyway, a few days later, he calls back and he's like, hey man, listen, I'm sorry I blew up the other day. Like you had really hard news to tell me. So, I appreciate how hard that was for you and I shouldn't have snapped at you. So how's everything otherwise? He's like, well, mom was on the roof.
It's the Thursday Papers, everybody. We want you to listen every week. Tell your friends. And don't forget, Sunday Papers every Sunday where we always have fresh material. It's Seaview Lobsters.
They
if you
like hearing old jokes. It's comforting.
It is a great fucking joke. Seaview Lobsters. Pick yourself up a little treat for the family, maybe a surprise for a friend. 800-245-4997 or orders at seaviewlobster.com. Make sure you mention Sunday Papers, and we'll catch you guys next week.
Send in your pictures of you and the family or alone eating lobsters, and we'll put them on the podcast.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
See how I think? See how I do that?
And then when you're done, take the lobster shells, wrap it up in some paper, and put it out in the can.
Eat on the lobsters. It's like cracking crabs. That's what how could we forget that one?
That's right. All right, we'll see you next week. See you, Mike.
Take it, H. Bye-bye.
Well, it's Thursday. It's time for Thursday Papers with Mike and Craig.